We had to come out here on YouTube and Periscope and DLive and Facebook and VK.com and all these different platforms, not just to let everybody know that you and I continue to do our Tuesday night show, More Paine, but you've got some serious breaking news tonight. How's it going, Mike?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. This is
we've been breaking
powerful
news on
angle
this thing,
for
like,
you.
every week. Every week we're breaking news on this show. It's like it's
great.
We're on I'd say we're on a roll. Now tonight's like, I think, pretty big news.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get into, of course, our sources are impeccable. That's what has frustrated not only the mainstream media but the right-wing media because I saw stuff today. I know I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I saw stuff today they were talking about, like in the Daily Caller, writing this breaking news stuff about the FBI that I literally wrote myself a year and a half ago. And
Exactly.
I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Like, there's some type of a remedial journalism program in the country where these guys are like out to lunch and then they decide, let's write about this. Let's just go through True Pundit and take stuff. And even today, I'm not going to make a big deal of it because this is, even today, our friends over at the Gateway Pundit, like, literally lifted one of our headlines word for word. I'm like,
wow.
And I used to get really mad at it. I'm just like, now I'm like, people send me this stuff. I'm like, well, whatever, man. I got other stuff to do. I can't chase down these losers all day. But, because we're trying to break news, not break faces. But sometimes I'd like to swap out. Now, since you called me like 2 minutes ago, now the lights are flashing in my house. There's like,
really?
See,
wow,
it's like a brown. It's like a brownout going on. I don't know what's going on. Like, we might have to keep the time of this show like a surprise in the future and just be like, throw it out there, because who knows? I'm sure the internet's going to go out and everything else, because they know 8 o'clock on a Tuesday it's time to rock and roll. In recent week, see, look, you see that? Everything's like flashing. This is like crazy. I don't know what's going on. Anyhow, what's going on? Anyhow. So tonight we're going to talk about the capital murder of Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins, and some breaking news. I think massive breaking news we have about the case, which has kind of found its way to the back pages of the news because that's the way the whole mob down in Arkansas likes things when they disappear. Just ask Larry Nichols. He knows all about this stuff.
Yeah.
Or he might not even talk about this situation because
I'm reluctant to say what Larry has shared with me about this because he didn't want to say it on air, and I mean,
because
Larry,
it's very explosive.
he was scared.
And like everything else, all these wimps in the media are like, ooh, yeah, let's talk about the, this, that, and the other thing, this like surface stuff. I don't like surface stuff because I did all that stuff like back in the day when I was coming up and covering rinky-dink crap. So we like the meat stuff. We want to break news. We want to get in people's faces,
Yeah.
So this stuff tonight is, I think it's massive. It's new information about her murder. There's no doubt it was a murder. I mean, that hasn't been. They arrested somebody.
The friend.
Friend of hers. We're going to talk about that tonight. Might not be the right person. Might not be the right person. And that's not even like the breaking news. People can say, oh, that's very obvious. I mean, that's what you're going to tell me tonight. This is crap. You're always doing this bait and switch act. I mean, just stop it, right? I can't say a lot on here because then the people who support us on Patreon go, hey, you gave away the ship, and I'm not going to pay you $3 a month, you Rasputin type guy. How dare you? And I'm going to go buy a pack of Trident gum instead of supporting you. So,
but Mike, you raise a great point, because what we're doing right now is just sharing the word with everybody that we're going to be starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern with More Paine, and that is a show that people can view on Patreon and Subscribestar. So if people are not yet on patreon.com/truepundit and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth or subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Right now is the time is to go over there and get signed up, become a sponsor, support True Pundit, support Crowdsource the Truth. It's really important. And Mike, you and I have discussed this many times. It's not just about coming on here and charging people for the truth. We are in the business of pursuing news stories, being journalists, trying to get information out to people.
People are paying one way or another. You're paying,
right?
Whether you're paying with your time, whether you read a shitty news site and get frustrated or something, you're still paying. You just don't realize it.
Right.
You're paying. One of the greatest commodities is your time. Now, do you want to go to a place that wastes your time and frustrates you? Because you read something and you get mad, and then a day later, the place that you read it at has to apologize because it wasn't true. I mean, we've never had to apologize to anybody. Not that we probably would. Anyway, but
That should be a sign on the wall somewhere. We've never had to apologize to anybody.
We've never had to apologize. But it's not like you had to walk these massive stories. All these people have to walk back and say, "Oh, we were wrong." It's like, it's just not wrong. Like, that's why we take our time now with things and get it right, and we always have. But there was a full court press in the past trying to pump stuff out because we thought other people might beat us, but then time has shown that they never beat us. They just don't beat us. Like, they're writing stuff that we did a year and a half ago. It's absurd.
Well, they're trying to marginalize. They're trying to marginalize things like True Pundit, things like Crowdsource.
Yeah, that's
the Truth.
cool. But here's the funny thing, though. At the end of the day, right, the people suffer because they're not getting the intel in their hands right away. Like, if I vanish tomorrow, one way or another, according to some people might want me to vanish, it's like I'll go do something else, and these dopes in the media will still be up to their old tricks where they swipe stories from people, they rehash things. It's like, at some point I'm like, is this your career? Like, is this what you wanted to do? Because you're not very good at it, number one. You're not breaking any stories. You're rehashing things. And at the end of the day, when you're at the bar with your friends and you're, working on destroying your liver, like most of the journalists in this country, don't you understand that, like, we kicked your ass every day for, and we don't even, this isn't even like a full-time gig anymore. People are like, ooh, you guys are really cut back. It's like, no, we haven't. We have swapped philosophies that people are going to support us, and we're going to give them the intel, and then maybe that'll trickle down into True Pundit online. Maybe,
right.
If I feel like it.
But you're talking about patreon.com/True
Talk about
Pundit.
Patreon.
It's becoming the primary place to get your True Pundit info. Some people are asking me a few questions right now, Mike, about Patreon. People can live chat on Patreon either with Discord, which, if you know Discord, you can get right on there. There is a group on Discord called simply Crowdsource the Truth. And people who are sponsors at $5 per month and higher get free access to that Discord group. People can also just put in comments, and I'm doing my best to look at them during the show.
Yeah, they put comments in. We read sometimes on the fly. We'll address things. I like it. I like talking about things and giving people information that they don't have. You can get so much more in depth than you can just writing a news story. And there's always, as you know, so much more behind just even a basic story than you can really discuss, and some people really like it. But it's like stuff tonight with this Collins, who was found dead of a gunshot wound outside her Arkansas home. This is big, I think. This is and it's been handled by the Arkansas law enforcement community, state police, and some other folks. It's not the case anymore. Something has happened where it's some folks have stepped in, the feds have stepped in, and we're going to talk about that. That's breaking news right there.
Yes.
I just broke news.
You
right?
did. Yes.
I just broke news right there. But that's like nothing. That's
bend it here, Mike. We'll break it on
now,
Patreon.
Some robots will probably write a story that the feds have stepped in, but they won't cite us, of course. It'll just be like, according to sources.
Right.
Bitch, you got no sources? Get out of here. I mean, if you had any sources, you'd be breaking stories and wouldn't be rewriting our stuff from a year and a half ago. But so,
now, Mike,
but
she was already out. She was already out as senator, right? She was a former senator when she was killed. So it's an anomaly for the FBI to be investigating the murder of someone who is not presently a federal employee.
Well, there are certain reasons why the feds would come in, and these reasons are somewhat shocking. And there's more than one reason that they came and what they're looking at, and that's a multifaceted enigma in itself. Because are they coming in to do something, or are they coming in to cover something up? So we'll talk about that tonight, because these people can't be trusted either. This is the country we live in. It's like,
well, we've been doing tons of stories. True Pundit gets great intel on the FBI, and you've been informing the public, really what's going on over there. We had a story several weeks ago about an FBI employee who was raped, and the FBI brass tried to cover it up, or I should say succeeded in covering it up. Yep. 2
DOJ employees were raped by FBI agents, allegedly, whatever the hell that means. It's basically been covered up, smoothed over. It was never reported to the LAPD. This happened in the Los Angeles field office. And the agents have been removed, but, one of them has literally fled the country. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. And the other people, the other individual is now in the private sector, and they're not sweating out any type of usually if you rape somebody, unless you're part of the Clinton family, you do end up being prosecuted when you're accused of it.
We'd hope so.
Or at least indicted or investigated. These people, there was nothing. It's like in the big cover. Because, again, Ray wants to protect the brand. So if a couple of DOJ females were raped, well, that's your fault for signing up, in other words. It's absurd.
It is.
Really. So that's
really
like
bad.
A major thing we broke a couple of weeks ago.
Getting raped
and we had another.
Work.
We had the LA Dodgers scandal with the tickets, and the FBI pushed back on that this week. They got a couple of stories. They got a couple of stories planted in different publications that said we were wrong and our information was erroneous.
Said the True Pundit was wrong?
Yeah. This is incredible. They said, well, yeah, they went to the Dodgers game for free, and the tickets were really expensive, and they had no business being there, but it might not have been a World Series game, but it was a World Series. But it was a World Series playoff game, and so we got that wrong. And it might not have been $65,000 to $75,000 in tickets and food and booze. We probably got that wrong. It's like, oh, really? We got so much wrong.
$62,000.
And they weren't supposed to be there, and there was an investigation, and nothing happened. It's like, dude, I don't care if you went to Sesame fucking Place, right, and saw Big Bird and Elmo. If
that's
you went in
Philly,
for free,
by the way.
and you're not supposed to go in for free, that's all I care about getting, right?
Yeah.
You're busted. But they release these things. Oh, you can't believe these guys because, they didn't get every little ball on the Christmas tree perfect. Yeah, we told you about the whole Christmas tree. And then the other thing we broke was these FBI managers all drunk at the Intel Center, drinking, having a big party, and Ray looked the other way. So it's like every week, and then there's more. We've talked about tons of other stuff. I'm not going to get into it because we got other stuff to do and other things to get to. So that's all I
used to build computer networks for video editors and artists around New York City. And P. Diddy was one of my early clients. They had a big sign in the studio that said, "No pot smoking allowed," but the place was reeking of pot. It seems like the FBI is running a similar kind of way. You just, booze it up all day.
Well, and you talk about marijuana. Now it's okay to smoke marijuana and get into the FBI. That's a new thing that they're tinkering with to try to attract hackers. Because they want to attract people who are, instead of what they usually do is bust people for something, and then they say, hey, you know what, man, we won't charge you if you work for us. And then they become like indentured servants. The only thing missing is like the cotton field where these people are out working all day because they beat these people like rented mules. So they won't go to jail. They don't pay them anything. And the people are like, yeah, I got to go work for the FBI for free so I don't go to jail. So instead of doing that approach, they want to attract, hackers who from time to time might imbibe with some herb, so to speak, or as they call it in suburban parts of Philadelphia, herb. They're not really down with down with the whole thing yet.
Yeah.
Hey, where can I score some herb? Herb, dude owns a store. He owns a store at the corner. Get out of here, you hobo.
Well, Mike,
So,
we're just
anyway,
about
so
out
we'll-
of
yeah,
time.
we'll talk tonight.
I don't mean to cut you while you're on a roll here, because you do get on these great rolls. I think everybody
No, we
enjoys
got-
not just the incredible level of detail that you get into with reporting on law enforcement, the DOJ and the FBI, your experience, but the delivery, the way you tell stories. People who haven't spent too much time in Philadelphia maybe aren't familiar with the type of personality that you've got, but people who watch more Paine every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, I think have come to really appreciate it. So if people right now are watching us on YouTube or Patreon or Periscope, or it's hard for me to remember all the names of the different services, but right now is the time to get over to patreon.com/truepundit, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth, because in less than 15 minutes, we're going to be starting tonight's episode of More Paine. We're going to be breaking some unbelievable news about the murder of former Arkansas State Senator Linda Collins Smith, and Mike Moore will be with me in just 15 minutes, so everybody get over there to patreon.com/truepundit. Mike, I'll see you in just a bit. And
Yeah, we'll see you, brother.
we're going to learn what this break in the story is.
We're going to break some more news this week. It's becoming a bad habit.
See everybody in 15 minutes.
See you,
Get on
man.
over to patreon.com. Thanks for watching.